What's up, guys? It's Tego from the Foot and Fist Sports Network, here to talk about the money fight between Floyd Mayweather and the notorious Conor McGregor. And it was a fight that a lot of people are calling the fight of the century. And while I wouldn't go that far, when it comes to hype, it was definitely probably the most hyped up and most publicized fight of all time. I mean, it was just massive, and I wouldn't be surprised if it broke all the numbers for pay-per-view sales and stuff like that. Because a guy like me, who, I mean, I don't pay for boxing events, if you know what I mean. I don't watch the boxing events, maybe legally. I don't watch that shit. I honestly don't. So, and I paid for it. So that just goes to show you how much the fact that Conor McGregor was there mattered to a lot of people. And yes, I only paid $30 for it because I'm in Italy, but still I had to pay for it, and I wouldn't usually pay for that shit. Luckily, there were three of us, so we got to divide the price into three parts. So not too bad, but still $30 compared to $90 is absolutely nothing. Going into the fight, there was a lot of talk, and I didn't do a video about it because of the fact that I'm so biased. If you haven't seen some of my videos, if you aren't a subscriber, then you probably don't know that I'm a massive mixed martial arts fan, and boxing isn't really on my radar. I've seen, the last Floyd Mayweather fights, except for this next to last one. The one before Conor, I didn't watch that one, but I watched this Canelo fight, I watched this two Maidana fights, I watched the Pacquiao fight. I don't really care about boxing. I don't follow it. I've watched Anthony Joshua's last two fights, and I haven't really watched anything other than that. I've seen Canelo fight a couple times, but I don't really go balls deep, and I definitely don't watch it live. So I was never like monstrously into boxing. So Conor went over there, and I knew for a fact that if I was gonna do a prediction video, I wasn't gonna be able to put my emotions aside about it and put my fandom of mixed martial arts and of Conor McGregor aside and pick with my head instead of my heart. So I decided to just not do it. And God knows my channel could have used all the traction I could have gotten from talking about Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather, because that probably would have gotten me hundreds of views that I haven't been getting lately. There was a time where I was getting hundreds. I was even getting, I got 10,000 views at one point, which was pretty high. For a guy who was my level, that was really, really high. And then it just potatoed off. I don't know. Maybe I'm not doing things right. But either way, I could have absolutely covered this and done the complete Schaub factor and just talked a bunch of bullshit talking about how Conor was going to go out there and destroy him and stuff like that. I could have done that, but I didn't, because I like to keep my shit real. I like to pride myself on being honest, being with my opinions, and keeping my shit real, and not just going out there and sell wolf tickets like Dana White would do. So, starting off, I expected Conor to go out there and do a lot better than most of the boxing fans expected, because having seen him fight so long in MMA and stuff like that, I knew his talent was there. His striking is there. He doesn't have to go out there and box Floyd Mayweather, which he actually ended up doing. I was actually kind of surprised by that, how much he went out there intending on boxing with Floyd instead of being a lot of like an MMA striker, where just using angles, firing off maybe one shot here, one shot there, just to keep himself fresh, and then, hopefully counterattacking a counter fighter. I expected him to do a little bit more of that, explode in the first 2-3 rounds, and then take it kind of slow. But instead, he kept on going for the fourth, and then even the fifth. I think that kind of was his downfall. But at the end of the day, Conor McGregor, he went out there and he did sort of what we all expected him to do, only a hell of a lot better. I expected him to win 1, maybe 2, maybe even 3 rounds, but little did I expect him to go out there and win 4, and arguably even 5. It was just a great performance, and there's a lot of boxing fans out there that are talking shit about him, like he didn't do anything because Mayweather let him and stuff like that. But do you not give the guy any credit whatsoever for being an 0-0 professional a boxer, going in there against arguably the greatest of all time, winning 4 rounds, arguably 5? Even if Floyd wasn't letting him do it, was letting him do whatever he wanted, you have to be impressed with the fact that he got in there and he had the balls to go at Floyd and swing at him and actually catch him with some nice shots. So let's go ahead and sort of break it down a little bit from round 1. Okay, round 1 started off, Conor McGregor, like everybody expected, was going to be unorthodox as hell, make it very difficult for Floyd to understand what angles Conor's going to be throwing from, and that really put him off. Especially there was a moment in time where Floyd, for the first time that round, really threw himself at Conor to try to hit him with a punch. Conor dodged it beautifully and hit him with a big uppercut, and it was a nice shot. You could see on Floyd's face, it sort of dazed him. He was a little bit confused by it. He didn't expect that from Conor, so that was the first sign that Floyd was going to take an L in the first few rounds. Second round, very similar. Floyd didn't really expose himself. He was giving Conor a lot of shots. Conor was just beating him up against the ropes at times, And I did just watch this fight, so I have it really fresh in my memory. I wanted to watch it again before doing any videos. So yeah, Conor McGregor was lighting him up in the second round as well. He wasn't really landing any big shots, but he was landing shots, which is something that a lot of people said he wasn't going to do. Max Kellerman in particular said he wouldn't land a single shot, and he landed the second most shots than any boxer's ever landed on Floyd Mayweather. So he's probably taking some dicks up his ass right now. So fuck you, Max Kellerman. I also hate first take, so double fuck you. And then anyway, round 3, Conor went out there. He did the same exact thing. Floyd Mayweather was fighting in a very defensive shell. Every time he would try to go at Conor, Conor would dodge it and hit him with a nice shot. So Floyd was still having a hard time dealing with the style, dealing with how unorthodox he is. And Paulie Malignaggi said it after the fight too. He said he was happy. And Paulie Malignaggi isn't a great boxer by any means. Every time he's fought somebody good, he got his ass beat. But he was even saying that when he first got into sparring, the first 4 or 5 rounds, he couldn't land a single punch on Conor because of how unorthodox he was. And he said he was embarrassed. He thought that maybe it was just him. Maybe he was just that trash. But then when he saw Floyd Mayweather having that kind of problems as well, he felt better about it. So even that's a former professional boxer, former world champion, even though a guy from down the street here could be a world champion in boxing. There's like 18 different world champions per weight class. So I could literally train for 6 months, fight one dude from right down the fucking street and become a world champion boxer. So that doesn't really mean much, but still, Paulie Malignaggi is a successful boxer. So for him to say that, it does show that maybe it wasn't just Floyd giving him the stuff. It was Floyd realizing that if he did go after him early on in the rounds when Conor was still fresh and when Conor still had power, then there was a lot better chance of him getting knocked out. So it's not like Floyd just gave him those rounds because he wanted to be nice and give him a few rounds. He gave him those rounds because he realized, if he did get himself too exposed, there was a potential of him getting knocked out. So Conor McGregor, he went out there and he imposed his game early on, which led Floyd to be forced to respect him a bit more and give him time and learn what exactly he was going to be throwing, what timing he had, when he was going to get tired and stuff like that. So you can't deny that Conor McGregor did a great job in those first 3 rounds. And then the 4th round. 4th round is when everybody expected Floyd to start picking it up. And realistically, Floyd did start picking it up. He landed a few good shots, but Conor was continuing to pepper him, the punches on his face, and continued to hit him, tap him. No monstrous shots, but definitely continuing to land shots and getting points for sure. And in my opinion, he won that 4th round as well. I gave him the first 4 rounds. 5th round, all Floyd. It was still very close, but still Floyd was starting to really pick it up, landing a lot of big shots. And Conor landed some jabs and stuff like that, some body shots, but realistically, Floyd was really starting to pick it up there. And you can see that the body shots were starting to take a toll on Conor immediately after that 5th round. 6th round, still more Floyd. Floyd was starting to pick it up more and more and more. He was doing more damage. He was landing more shots. 7th round, still Floyd, still landing a lot of shots. Conor still struggling. The 5th and 6th round weren't that much of a huge win for Floyd, but definitely Floyd won them. The 7th round was a bit more of a Floyd win. He was doing a lot better. He was landing a lot more shots. Conor hit him with a few more illegal shots than in the earlier rounds, but still, that's kind of expected because Floyd was just giving him his back and giving him his head, which he's done against a lot of his opponents. People don't really remember that. It's like a lot of times he gives his back to his opponents because once he's in that position, and this is actually an illegal move in its own right, once he's in that position, they can't do anything to him, so that frustrates people. But Conor, he doesn't give a shit. So he just hammer-fisted the hell out of him. And Floyd's lucky it wasn't an octagon, because if he gives him his back, he's either going to sleep or he's getting pounded the fuck out. Now, 8th round. This is a round that I constantly hear people saying it was extremely close. And it was. It was extremely close. And by the way, I gave it to Conor McGregor. Even the Showtime scorer gave it to Conor McGregor. I gave Conor McGregor round 1, 2, 3, 4, and 8. The Showtime scorer gave him 1, 2, 3, and 8. He didn't give him the 4th round, but the 4th round was very close, so I can accept that. 8th round, definitely Conor McGregor. Floyd was going after him, but Conor sort of got like a second wind, sort of, and he was dodging a lot of shots, hitting him with nice body shots, and really doing some damage. Not like monsters, like he's about to be finished damage, but he was doing some damage. He was timing Floyd very well, and it was a very good round for Conor McGregor, especially for the fact that people were like, okay, he only won the early rounds, but bitch, he won one of the later rounds too, so that's when Floyd was allegedly not letting him do anything anymore. So, hats off to Conor for winning that round, coming through the pressure and winning a round later on. The 9th round was definitely off Floyd. You can see there was one moment in particular where Conor lost all his energy, but there's one thing about this 9th round that really pissed me off, and that's within the first 20 seconds, Conor lands a beautiful body shot. You can see Floyd covering up to his, left side, went to the corner, Conor landed a bunch of shots there, and the referee randomly took him off of there, and there was a low blow apparently, but I didn't see any low blows. I didn't see anything. Floyd didn't talk about any low blows in the corner over there after the fight and stuff like that. So I don't understand exactly why the referee held him there for that long too. It's like, why the fuck would he hold him there for that long when Floyd's visibly hurt? I mean, even like the Showtime announcers, when I watched it with two different announcers. I watched it with, I think it was probably like Sky Sports announcers, and the other one was with the actual Showtime announcers. So and on the second one I watched, there was Sugar Ray Leonard. So that was a very different approach, and I liked it a lot too. I liked Sugar Ray as an announcer way more than the guys that were on the Showtime one. Like Paulie Malignaggi is just garbage. Anyway, now so yeah, there was a moment there like Conor hit him to the body, and Floyd was really hurt, and the referee went over there, grabbed him, and stalled for so damn long. I just don't get it. It was almost like the referee was trying to give Floyd a chance to recover. And I mean, I'm not going to sit here and accuse the Nevada Athletic Commission or whatever of fixing the fight or anything like that, but it was very fishy. It was very, very fishy. And what was also really fishy is how before the fight, the referee was just staring at Conor McGregor, telling him not to do takedowns and stuff like that, like obvious shit that they should have just talked about in the back. Like, why are you talking about this live when you're wasting even more time when the event was already an hour and 15 minutes late when it comes to starting? I mean, why would you do that? So I just don't understand. There was just a lot of fishy stuff there. I'm not accusing anybody of fixing fights, but it was just really odd. Really, really odd. So the referee gives Floyd plenty of time to recover, and from there, Conor McGregor was just gassed. He took one shot, I think it was to the body, and from there, it really looked like he was completely exhausted. And he even said himself after the fight that there gets a point in the fight where he just gets really exhausted, even in sparring and training and stuff like that, where he gets really exhausted and he has a hard time seeing to the end of the fight. But once he gets closer within like 2 rounds, that's when he starts to pick it up. And you can definitely say the same thing about in mixed martial arts. In that first fight with Nate, he was throwing bombs and every single punch he threw, so I don't really count that one. But in that second fight, he was dominating the first 2 rounds easily. Then the third round, he had a hard time. It was just a bit of a tough one because Nate really put the pressure on him, and you can see he got really tired there all of a sudden. And it was like he was having a really hard time staying on his feet and stuff like that. But it wasn't really because he was hurt. It was just because he was so exhausted. Then in the 4th round, he came out and he won that round. And the 5th one was a very close one. Probably gave it to Nate. But still, I mean, it was a very, very good job from him to come back from being so exhausted in that 3rd round in the Nate fight and then coming back. So I would like to see him have that chance in the boxing match. But at the end of the day, that 10th round, excuse me, Floyd Mayweather went out there and was landing some big shots, was really hurting him. I don't know if he was like really hurting him, but he was definitely, his legs were completely out, weren't there anymore. So he was just too exhausted. He was taking too many shots, and eventually he was going to go down. So I personally, being an MMA fan, would have much rather seen him get dropped and stuff like that, because he also said the same thing. I'd like to see fighters go out on their shield and be done. But, the referee went out there. He stopped him from just taking more punishments. So you can't really complain about it. You really can't complain about it. He did a good job. Throughout the whole fight, the referee did a pretty good job. I like the fact that he didn't stall too much. One thing that really pissed me off was the fact that as soon as they would get in the clinch, he would stop it, like way faster than he should have, because that was realistically one of the spots that Conor McGregor could have landed a lot of nice shots. But the referee, for some reason, was just stopping it really early. And some are going to say it was because of the fact that he wanted to give Floyd he wanted to give Conor as little opportunities as possible to have an advantage over Floyd. I personally think it was probably just like, there's no really clinch game in boxing, so the referee isn't a clinch guy, and just let him, separate him as soon as they got in the clinch. Hats off to Floyd also for getting the advantage in a lot of those clinch situations. He used his head position very, very well, which is something that in mixed martial arts is very important. Conor was getting a lot of underhooks, but realistically, the head position is more important when you can't really do anything like throwing people down and stuff like that. So Floyd was doing a good job of putting his weight, using his head on Conor and making him tired. Conor definitely isn't a clinch machine, but he should have worked on that better. He should have done better there. So hats off to Floyd for really doing a great job there. And I'm not just going to be a Conor dick sucker here talking about the rounds that Conor won. I'm also going to be like giving credit where credit is due to Floyd Mayweather, because I'm absolutely not a fan of Floyd Mayweather. He's honestly a piece of shit as a human being, beating up women. He's just a really, really bad guy in that sense. But when it comes to being an athlete, when it comes to being a professional, there is nobody better. I mean, 50-0, fighting a lot of really monstrous guys, and hats off to him also for taking this risk, because a lot of people talk shit about Conor. A lot of these boxers talk shit like they would take him any day, but none of them did. I mean, none of them really were making an honest approach to fighting him. The only one that really wanted it was Floyd Mayweather, because he wanted the payday, and he also took a monstrous risk because he had to go in there for those first few rounds not knowing what the hell Conor was going to be like, and he could have lost there. He could have lost being at 40 years old, but he had huge balls. But most importantly, Conor McGregor had massive balls as well, coming from mixed martial arts, going over to a thing that's very, very different. Boxing is a very, very limited rule set. but it's a very, very different rule set. You know what I mean? It's just a very, very different type of fighting. In mixed martial arts, you have to defend takedowns, so it does involve a lot of physical strength and stuff like that, whereas boxing, it's all about cardio. It's all about how long your shoulders can last and stuff like that. And that's a very, very different thing for Conor McGregor than fighting mixed martial arts, especially because he only had like a few months to do it. I think they announced the fight in like June, maybe July. Like he only had like a month and a half to really prepare for it. So, you know, it wasn't enough time for him to really get into boxing and stuff like that. And with the short amount of time he had to get prepared for it, he did a tremendous job. You know, he landed what was it, like 30 more than Pacquiao, 30 more shots than Pacquiao. He landed only 7 less than Canelo. Just what a performance. What an absolute performance, showing that in the most odd situations, in the most unfavorable situations, he can still go out there and put on one hell of a performance. And say what you want about Conor. Boxing fans, say what you want about Conor. Every time he goes out there, he puts on one hell of a fight. And Floyd Mayweather, he went out there and put on probably the most entertaining fight of his career, definitely of the second half of his career, probably the last, 20 fights, 30 fights. That was without a doubt the most entertaining fight he's had, and one of the best fights that Floyd Mayweather's had in his career. At 40 years old, he didn't look like the old Floyd Mayweather. He wasn't as fast, he wasn't as fluid and stuff like that, but he was still one hell of a boxer. He is one of the greatest of all time in his sport, and as much of a piece of shit as he is outside of the ring, inside the ring, he is one of the very best competitors you will meet, whether it comes to mixed martial arts, boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, whatever it is. He is one of the elite guys. He is just an absolute beast. His composure is second to none. He knows exactly what he's doing in there every second of every round. Like, you can say whatever you want. Like, his IQ as a person, his dad's IQ as a person, it's extremely low. I mean, you can tell, like, at least it looks extremely low. Like, he could barely talk. Man, his dad obviously has taken so many beatings in his life that's why he can't talk. But even Floyd, when he talks, he doesn't seem like he's very smart. He's very business smart, but he doesn't really seem like he's very life smart. But when it comes to his fight IQ, he's second to none. I mean, he is second to none. His dad is a tremendous coach in boxing. His whole team in general does a very good job of setting up a game plan and getting him to implement that game plan to perfection. And you just cannot deny that. When it comes to being in the cage, not in the cage, but in the ring, there is nobody smarter than Floyd Mayweather. So hats off to him. You are a tremendous boxer. Hopefully this time he will stay retired, because I don't like seeing 42, 45-year-olds coming out of retirement to take a fight against a young guy. I mean, being a 40-year-old fighting an 0-0 professional boxer who just happens to be a two-division world champion in mixed martial arts, that's a big risk. Doing that at 40, that's a big risk. But imagine doing something similar against maybe a pro boxer at 42, 45. I mean, that's just a monstrous risk, and I honestly hope that Floyd Mayweather has the intelligence to stay away from boxing, be done with it, and just end it like there, because you do not want to end up like your dad. Because that guy literally can't put up a sentence like, Floyd gonna win. I mean, Floyd gonna win the fight. I mean, how you gonna say that Conor McGregor cannot possibly win? It's like you do not want to be talking like that. And the fact that they look so much alike, every time he sees his dad, he probably sees like this is what his future could have been if he wasn't a defensive mastermind. So hats off to Floyd for being such a defensive king in his career, being so smart. I love it when people get out of the game without having too much brain damage. Regardless of what I think about you as a person, I don't want to see these guys get brain damage. Unless maybe you're Travis Brown, because Travis Brown is a particular piece of shit. That's a story for a different day. Anyway, it's just about everybody else. I don't want to see any brain damage. So happy for Floyd. 50-0, have a monstrous amount of respect for the guy when it comes to being a competitor. Not so much as a human, but as a competitor, you simply can't deny his greatness. And you have to appreciate greatness regardless of what sport it is, whether it's basketball, football, soccer, whatever you want to call it, mixed martial arts, whatever sport it is, you have to appreciate greatness. And that's exactly what Floyd Mayweather is. Great. One of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time. And at the end of the day, Conor McGregor went out there, put on one hell of a performance. For all you boxing fans that are talking a bunch of mad shit, you know, dude, imagine if Floyd went over to the mixed martial arts game. You know how many rounds Conor won? On the score, like, officially, pretty much. Well, for some reason, the judges gave him only one round, which just shows you how fucked up boxing was. Even if he'd gone to a decision and won every single round, they still wouldn't have given him the fight. There's just no way in hell. So fuck the boxing commission. Fuck the boxing judges. They're a load of shit. There's the absolute fucking haters and absolute biased fucking pieces of shit. If there was ever a time to believe that boxing was shady as hell, just look at that. As soon as a mixed martial artist comes in and take on a boxer, he wins the first 3 rounds according to everybody, and somehow, according to the judges, he only won 1 of those. I mean, it's just absolute garbage. Fuck boxing, man. Fuck boxing. And anyway, so all the boxing haters, imagine if Floyd Mayweather went into the octagon against Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor won 3 rounds. I guarantee you Floyd Mayweather wins less minutes than Conor McGregor won rounds. He wins less than 3 minutes of that fight. And hey, guess what? I guarantee you he wins less than half the minutes that Conor McGregor wins rounds. He doesn't even survive a minute and a half. What's he going to do? Jab? No. Conor McGregor's going to get in close. They're going to elbow the shit out of him. He's going to take him down, throw him down, submit him, or pound the holy fuck out of him. That's exactly what happened. He would turn Floyd into a bloody fucking pulp. He wouldn't even be close. It would be a beatdown of epic proportions. You thought James Toney got it bad. James Toney got lucky to win against Randy Couture, who was one of the nicest guys in the world, who took him down and just submitted him, didn't really beat the shit out of him. Conor McGregor is a ruthless guy. He would take him down and beat the holy shit out of him after head kicking the hell out of him. He would just absolutely destroy him, and it wouldn't even be close. So before you start talking shit about Conor McGregor and saying he's like a bitch and stuff like that, how about you think about that? All right, Conor McGregor went from mixed martial arts into the boxing game, having never had a professional fight, and took Floyd to 10 rounds. So it took Floyd 10 rounds to finish him. Conor McGregor, it doesn't even take him 1. It doesn't even take him 2 minutes. He finishes him that fast. It's not even close. It's just not even close. So mind your P's and Q's. Respect the guy. Give him some damn credit. All professional boxers are giving him credit, except for Paulie Malignaggi, because Paulie is just such a hater. Obviously, Paulie wants that fight against Conor McGregor. He has monster beef with him, and he's just an overall retard. You can tell. I apologize to people who have like mentally handicapped people as their family or stuff like that. I don't mean it like that. He's a retard, as in he's just an absolute brain dead idiot. He is a fucking idiot to epic proportions. He got his ass beat. He doesn't want to admit it. Now he feels bad about it. He wants that rematch because he wants to show people, I'm a fucking badass. I'm fucking Paulie Malignaggi, dude. I'm a fucking fighter. The security guard didn't know who the hell you are. The security guard doesn't know who the hell you are. The only reason that people are talking about you is because of the fact that you got your ass beat by Conor in sparring. That is it. So fuck you, Paulie Malignaggi. Go to hell. Boxing community, if you respect Conor, then good on you. But if you don't, if you're one of those people who basically don't give him any credit, then fuck you too. Go to hell as well. Boxing in general, I'm going to be doing a video very, very soon about why boxing is so trash, because it really is trash compared to the UFC. There's just so much about it for the production value that is just absolute garbage. This is a story for another day. Alright guys, that is it for the video. If you enjoyed it, please smash that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for all the subscribers who continue to tune into it. And please share the video with anybody you want to. That's extremely helpful, and I am extremely grateful to anybody who does that. Once again, hats off to Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather for having massive balls, for having such cojones, for going out there, putting it all on the line. And Floyd Mayweather, hats off to you also for doing what you said you were going to do and going at Conor McGregor. I didn't expect it, just about nobody did. And you went out there and you really did took the fight to Conor McGregor. So hats off to you on that. You are an absolute legend. Conor McGregor, you are an absolute legend. And your legend is going to continue to grow to such a degree that we might have never seen it before in mixed martial arts, especially with John Jones fucking up so badly right now. It's wide open for Conor McGregor to take over as the greatest of all time, because Demetrius Johnson doesn't get the respect he deserves. But Conor is definitely one of those guys who can take over. So thank you so much for guys once again for watching. I've been Diego from the Foot and Fist Sports Network. I will see you in the next video.